Jim, if you don't mind, Mr. Nasr, another shining face that I haven't seen in quite a while. What is going on? Another roller coaster year for you? Busy, 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 I'm sure. Can you talk a little about Acoer and Health Pass or whatever, wherever it is that we are now? What's new?
Hey, Jeremy. Guys, it's amazing to see you all, and congratulations really to everyone. Andrew, Tune FM, just cracking it. Well done. Yeah, we're kind of in the stodgy, and kind of the not particularly glamorous world of Hedera solutions. But it's been a good year. It's been an interesting year because we spent really all of 2020 working on this one major project with the Mayo Clinic. I think you're probably familiar with it. We talked about it, here and there. And then really we kind of like took a step back and said, all right, that was good. That was very helpful, in some sense, just kind of really prove out certain things. And we had tons of production data stamps on this, that, the other, but in some ways, that was the only thing we did last year, right? With COVID in particular. So we kind of spent the first 9 months, 8, 9 months of the year really building our products. You may have heard of Rice Hash. We kind of got that out, and we've been working with a couple of companies on this idea of, again, it's using NFTs, but not in the context of what I would call a marketplace manifestation. It's much more like the utility, like a really kind of a unique kind of anchor that you could call from anywhere and have a point of reference with associated transactions. So anyway, all to say, that's coming. It's the industry that we're in is a slow adopter and slow change, and very regulated, and people are very conservative, right? So in some ways, like for instance, we actually kind of like remove the idea of dealing with wallets and dealing with keys, and we're really kind of, we abstract all that. We kind of do that on behalf of clients. We're kind of like custodian and transition, kind of like you were saying, Andrew. We act as a custodian of the keys because honestly, it's kind of scary for a lot of our clients. So like, they kind of get nervous when we talk about cryptocurrency, never mind our own minted tokens on top of a cryptocurrency. So all to say, we kind of try and dumb that out for them. But again, knock on wood, it's coming along. It's been a really good year in the context of us actually building out the things that we wanted to build out, right? And really kind of making an active investment, or really doubling down on investments to build the products that we had to build. I think in the context of what 2022 looks like, I'm actually really optimistic. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm really looking forward to reconnecting with you all, because I think we've been kind of down in the hole for a little while, and just, you know what it's like. We have to build stuff and prove it, scale it. I mean, we've been doing some crazy like engineering work, and we're doing some transactions that are like, we're projecting like 100 million transactions per month. So it's serious engineering, but we want to resurface back into community, because the community is, thank you. I mean, it's hard work, but we want to resurface with you all, because all you guys are doing some amazing work. It's really, I'm making this reference, on the other call, on the Spaces call, just moments ago with Dr. Bird. They're obviously with Hedera and the community, with Hedera and the governance council and such, they're driving down the top-down story and the narrative. But it's amazing to see how, like, particularly in 2021, the bottom up has really kind of filled in, right? I think maybe this time last year was just the 20, 30, 40 of us, kind of getting together and, scratching our heads. But now there's like hundreds and more. Right. So that's really, that's great to see. So well done. Thank you, JR, for what you do. And I think, I apologize for not being involved enough, because I think, it's not for lack of not wanting to be involved, but for one reason or the other, time slips by. But yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're a busy guy, Jim. No worries there. I know you're in the trenches. It's one of those things. But every once in a while, I'll think about old Jim and Acoer chugging away over there, and I know you guys are, in the trenches, hashing it out, so to speak.
Here we are, but we're surfacing, and I'm looking. I think 2022, and hopefully with this Omicron or whatever, we can get back to, I guess get back to what we were at just a few months ago, get back to in-person type things. But I'm looking forward to coming down to Savannah. You're not that far from where I live. So,
right.
One of these days, these Friday things that you do, you never know. I'll be popping in.
Well, hey, we've got an Airbnb at my house. It's ready. It's ready and waiting for you. It's got a private entrance and everything. So, although
Brilliant.
it does get a little cold in there, you can ask Rob.
All good.
That's the
All
coldest
good.
room in the house.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
anyway, thank you so much for the kind words, man. I appreciate it, and again, I'm honored to be part of this community, and lots of people I respect, and I've seen one way or the other, throughout the last few years. So let's
well,
keep going.
we're honored to have you in the community. A handful of us, Ken Walker, myself, Rob, and actually, I don't Lou's not in the room, but Lou was here a minute ago too. We when we started that, after Hedera 18, we started on a health records use case. Health bar
Yeah.
was, and
Oh,
it was listening to one of your podcasts and then talking to you afterwards about the difficulties of working in the medical space. And I said, and then on top of that, we ran into some issues with the National Provider Identifier database, the NPI database, which we wanted to leverage. Turns out the physicians don't actually keep up with the information there.
I'm
And
very familiar with it, by the way. I'm overly and unfortunately too familiar with MPI. We built APIs to it, and it doesn't really deal with fire too well. And there's intermediate. I mean, healthcare is
right,
all about intermediaries who suck the value out of the system, right? It's the opposite of what we're trying to do, which is the transparency and
right.
connect data sources. But it's a nightmare.
Right. And so and so the combination of your words of warning, you said something about, I'll never forget it. You said something to the effect of, if you're not already entrenched in the medical space, entrepreneurs, startups, beware. Right. And it was a stark warning, but I took it seriously. And then that in combination with some other advisors, that just said medical is a slog. You guys are really going to have a hard time, especially without having any background in the technology and in the regulatory space already. So between that and our troubles with the MPI database, we just said, okay, we're going to move on.
But you know what, JR, stay tuned, because honestly, one of the things, and I've mentioned this publicly many times, I've talked to Manson Lehman and other folks, Christian, HBAR Foundation. One of our objectives, truthfully, is to build the enablers, middleware, for lack of a better term, but it's really more like the next level up from the base services, to actually allow people like all you guys, all of us, because healthcare, life sciences, public health, we need, it's needed. This innovation is needed. This transparency is needed. Public DLTs are needed. The problem is the chasm between where like Hedera is as a native set of services or an infrastructure versus what would realistically make it useful for that space. But we're kind of really working on that with very much the intention that we got to grow it. I mean, there's no way any one company could even remotely scratch the surface. But that's kind of our thing, is building some of these gears so you guys can build the watches and the engines on top of it.
There we go.
But stay tuned on it.
Awesome. So blaze the trail, and then we'll come chugging right along behind you. Ken
It takes a
Walker,
village.
and as soon as that trail has been blazed, we're going back to Health Bar, brother. It might be it might be 5 or 10 years down the road. Rob's going to be retired by then, but
I may be dead, but yeah, we got to get going.
Well, thanks again for being here, Jim.
Thank you
It's always a
so
pleasure.
much. Good to catch up with you all.